की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रयोजकाचार्य स्त्रोत्र सदस्य डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्री श्री राधा रास बिहारी भगवान की श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की श्री श्री गौर निताय की जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, text number 48. Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Hato Avita Vayam Chasmad Iti Balaha Vraje Jaguhu Adhyanena Mahavyalo Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Yashodananda Sununa Hato Vita Vayam Chasmad Hato Vita Vayam Chasmad Iti Bala Vraje Jaguhu Iti Bala Vraje Jaguhu Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Hato Vitavayam Chasmad Iti Bala Vraje Jagu Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Hato Vitavayam Chasmad Iti Bala Braje Jaguhu. Please stand. Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Ato Vitavayam Chasmad Iti Bala Braje Jagu Adhyanena Mahavyalo Yashodananda Sununa Ato vitavayam chasmat iti bala vrataja. Mataji's. Adyanena mahavyalo Yashodananda sununa Ato vitavayam chasmat iti bala vratejuhu. What word meaning? Adya, today. Anena, by him. Mahavyala, a great serpent. Yashoda, of Yashoda. Nanda, and Maharaj Nanda. Sununa, by the son. Hataha, has been killed. Avita, have been saved. Vayam, we. Cha, and. Asmat, from that demon. Iti, thus. Balaha, the boys. Vraje, in Vrindavana. Jaguhu, sang. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. As the cowherd boys reached the village of Vraja, they sang, "Today Krishna saved us by killing a great serpent." Some of the boys described Krishna as the son of Yashoda and others as the son of Nand Maharaj. Purport. Actually, Lord Krishna had killed the demon Aghasur 1 year earlier, but the boys, bewildered by the mystic potency of Brahma for 1 year, did not notice the time passing, and thus thought that on that very day, Lord Krishna had killed the demon Aghasur and was now returning home with them. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are discussing the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the lotus face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we have access to the most intimate and special pastimes, including the commentaries by the Acharyas. We saw that actually Srila Prabhupada has given purports till the last chapter. From this canto onwards, from these chapters onwards, it is the empowered disciples of His Divine Grace who are giving purports, which are nothing but reference to Srila Prabhupada's purports and the Acharyas. But it is Srila Prabhupada who has given us this special treasure of directly of the special pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Sri Krishna's Vrindavan Leela is such, it is so informal and sweet, the Madhurya Bhav which is there. Sometimes Krishna is discussing with his friends, and just like this lunch pastime is happening, wherein Brahma gets bewildered. So sometimes Krishna is telling and speaking to his friends that you guys don't respect me. You don't respect me enough. You know, I am the one who killed Putana. I am the one who killed Aghasura. And I am the one who lifted Govardhan hill. And Krishna's friends, they reply to him, what are you talking about? Putana died and you were saved because Mother Yashoda was chanting prayers for your safety. Aghasur, we went inside Aghasur, sliced him off. Then you came later on. And Govardhan Hill, Madhu Mangal was chanting mantras because of which Govardhan Hill was flying on its own. You just came and stood there. And then Krishna is laughing. Along with all his friends, he's laughing. So these are the kinds of talks, the sweet talks that Krishna has along with his cowherd boyfriends. Now when this killing of Aghasura, the python, when it takes place, when Krishna's friends, they go inside the mouth of the python, feeling very adventurous, and Krishna, although wanting to stop them, they go inside, and then Krishna joins them later. And then Aghasur, who is just waiting for this opportunity, he closes his mouth. Krishna expands himself. Aghasur is suffocated, and that's how he is killed. And then Krishna, by his mere glance, he revives the cowherd boys. Our Acharyas mentioned that Aghasura, he gets Sayujya Mukti. And the reason being because Krishna touched Aghasura's body. So he gets liberation. Now, at the end of this chapter, Parikshit Maharaj, he asks Shukdev Goswami, because Shukdev Goswami just mentions towards the end that Aghasur Vad was discussed after a year. In Braj, it was discussed after a year. So then to this, Parikshit Maharaj asked the question that why is it that it was discussed after a year? Just like Srila Prabhupada in today's purport he is mentioning. That this was, the boys, they thought that on this very day, Aghasur Vad happened. So then coming back to the point, Parikshit Maharaj is asking the question, why? So then that is how the next chapter after Aghasur Vad comes, which is stealing of the boys and calves by Lord Brahma, which is what we call as Brahma Vimohan Leela. So now when this Aghasur Vad takes place, Krishna, he takes all the cowherd boys to the bank of the river and he glorifies the place, saying that there are such nice birds here, they are chirping, such a special place is there for our pastimes, for our sporting, for our playing. Let us settle here. So then the boys agree. They set up for their prasadam, they set up, and they're using, the Bhagavatam mentions here that Shukdev Goswami is mentioning, they're using leaf plates, as plates, they're using flowers also. Sometimes they're using rocks as plates, and they have put all their food which they have brought from home, prepared by their mothers, who very lovingly prepare all this food because they know that Krishna is going to taste these preparations. And then there is a very nice interaction between Krishna and his cowherd boyfriends, who are all offering Krishna foodstuffs, and Krishna is tasting them, commenting on them. Sometimes even to satisfy them, he says that my mother Yashoda, she doesn't make so nice, but your mother makes so nice food. So in this way, there is a very special and loving interaction between Krishna and his cowherd boyfriends who are enjoying lunch at this particular moment. Now, because at this moment, the calves, they go away to graze, Krishna's friends, the cowherd boys, they feel agitated. They're feeling disturbed. So Krishna tells them, do not fear. Do not fear, I'll go. You don't disturb your lunch. You don't disturb your lunch program. I will go and I'll bring the cows. Here we see that how Krishna is first, he's telling them, do not fear. Just like he tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Ma Sucha, do not fear, I am there. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport also to this, Bhayam Dhitiya Veshita, he says that how Krishna, even fear personified is afraid of Krishna. So how can there be fear in the lives of devotees? Yad bhibeti swayam bhayam. The fear personified, he is afraid of Krishna. So Krishna, he is telling his friends, don't fear, I'll bring them. You continue with your lunch program. So now when Krishna goes away, so that time Brahma saw Aghasur Vad. And Brahma, along with the denizens of heaven, were also witness to all these activities that Krishna was enjoying with his cowherd boyfriends. The prasadam, this pastime, especially the lunch pastime, the picnic. So when Brahma sees this, he is bewildered, thinking how can this personality who is Yagya Bhuk, who only eats remnants of food that is offered in sacrifice, how can he be eating in this way? Because Krishna was also sometimes, he was stealing the morsels of food from his friends' mouths and then eating. So he is eating their Mahaprasad. And when this is happening, Brahma is not able to understand this, bewildered. So Brahma had this tinge of, let me show my power. Let me show my power. And at the same time test Krishna. So when Brahma is thinking in this way, when Krishna goes away, and so Brahma comes there and he kidnaps the cowherd boyfriends and cows from that spot. By his mystic potency, he puts them in a cave to see what happens now. Now Krishna has gone, he is acting as a servant to his devotees. He is searching for these calves so that his friends may enjoy lunch peacefully and not be agitated. This is such a leadership lesson that we learn from Krishna, that the Lord is himself taking the responsibility to see that his subordinates are peaceful, they are happy, and he takes the responsibility of going and doing the task. So Krishna is going, he's searching. Shukdev Goswami mentions, he's gone and searching in the mountains, he's searching in the forest, he's not able to see the cows. So, unsuccessful, he is returning back to the spot where the cowherd boys are sitting. And when he reaches there, he sees that there are no cowherd boys there. Now Krishna, he is omniscient, he knows that this is Brahma who is performing this, who is testing me by his mystic potency, and he is the one who has kidnapped the cowherd boys and calves. So Krishna knew that, but he is acting as if he doesn't know. He's searching. Krishna is searching. And Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in the purport, in Krishna book, he's mentioned, this is the great actor. Because Krishna, he wants to bewilder Brahma also. He knows Brahma is stolen. So then, so that Brahma gets more bewildered, he's acting as if, where are the boys? Where are the boys? He's acting like this. Later on, our Acharya has mentioned that actually Krishna himself, he hides these cowherd boys and calves, he himself hides them by his Shakti, by his Yogamaya potency. So they are there. And for 1 year, these cowherd boys and these calves, they remained hidden from everyone's vision. These cowherd boys and calves, they did not feel any hunger, they did not feel any thirst for 1 year. And when this whole pastime gets over, then they come back along with Krishna. The only difference is that they have grown in size because it's 1 year passed away. But they are unaware of it. They are unaware. This is what our Acharya has mentioned. But to Brahma, he doesn't understand. Because our Acharya has also mentioned that how can Brahma, with his material mystic potency, have an influence on Krishna's Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. This is Krishna's spiritual potency by which he expands into the cowherd boys and calves. So how can Brahma, his material energy, influence that? How can he steal them? So that is the reason behind why Brahma was not actually able to steal the cowherd boys and calves. Now, what Brahma steals, so this is mentioned, this is Mayar Bhuk. He steals an illusory form of the cowherd boys and calves. So now Krishna, he is unable to find, he returns back to the river bank, and so Krishna, he is expanding through his Vasudev feature. He expands into all the cowherd boys and calves, including every single and minute detail. Right from the way they tie their belt piece, to the way the bugles are kept, to the way they keep their horns, to their lathis, to their angavastras and dhotis. Exactly every single and minute detail that the cowherd boys have, like Shridam, Sudam, Madhumangal, etc., Krishna becomes all of that. He expands into that by his own potency. He also becomes the calves with these exact bodily features. And he continues the program. Srila Prabhupada writes, he has regular program. That means he's enjoying with them. So this program is going on for 1 year. Krishna, he goes home along with all the cowherd boys and the cows. They return back to their own homes. But these cowherd boys and cows are actually none other than Krishna himself. And so when Krishna goes back again in the morning for grazing the cows every day morning in his daily routine, it's Krishna going with other Krishnas. So it's him only who is he is the cowherd boy, he's all the cowherd boys, he is the cows. And they're having the whole program. And he's enjoying with them also. He's playing the same sports. So this whole thing, this is going on for a year. The difference is that now he's giving extra pleasure to the elderly gopis of Braj who had this desire. When they saw Mother Yashoda interacting with Krishna, they had this desire that, oh, if Krishna would be my son, then I would also treat him in this Vatsalya Bhav, in this special parental affection, in this mood of parental affection. Even I would be able to do this if Krishna were my son. They had this desire. To fulfill this desire of the elderly gopis, now when Krishna goes as their own children, Shri Shri Radha Rasa Pyari Bhagwan ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Jai. So these mothers, they are having this special desire. In an ordinary case, how can the mother be more affectionate to Krishna? When Krishna is going to Mother Yashoda's house, how are they going to be able to get Krishna's association and be able to bathe him, dress him up, oil him, massage him, ornament him? How are they going to be able to do this? So in order to fulfill this desire, Krishna has become these cowherd boys, and he goes to their houses, and now these mothers, they have the opportunity to serve Krishna personally and directly. And this is going on for a year. And now suddenly all the mothers, all the elderly gopis who ordinarily have very, very special attraction towards Krishna, much more than their own sons, much more than their own children, they have that attraction and special affection for Krishna. They are getting the opportunity now to fulfill that desire, and they are feeling more attraction towards their own sons, towards their own children. How is this possible? Ordinarily, this is not possible. But this is also proof of the fact that the jiva, the soul by nature, wants to engage in this transcendental rasa with Krishna only, and that is the nature. Otherwise, how is it that these elderly gopis, they felt so much attraction for their own children now, for this 1 year? Always when Krishna used to come along with all his cowherd friends and cows from grazing, so all the elderly gopis and mothers, they are all waiting. When will Krishna come? They want to have darshan of Krishna. They want to see him. But suddenly, from this day onwards, now they want to see their own children. They are more affectionate to their own children. So this is a concept that only devotees can understand, because ordinarily people will think, normally for them, their children are the most important personalities. Especially when one has a child, then one always feels a very, very great deal of affection towards the child. Much more than one may have for one's own self. Especially when the children are small, one has so much affection for them, which is very natural. So this is what happens in ordinary course. But Braj, the speciality of Braja is that the center is Krishna, and so everyone's attraction is more towards Krishna than anyone else, including the mothers who love Krishna much more than their own children. The example is like just like how Krishna is sitting with all his cowherd friends. Shukdev Goswami is explaining that it is like the whirl of a lotus flower. Krishna is in the center, and all the cowherd boys, they are sitting around him, and they are looking at him, thinking and waiting, when will Krishna look at me? And that particular example, this is the essence of our philosophy, the essence of Krishna consciousness, that we are waiting, we are looking at Krishna. We are looking at Krishna, we are looking at our authorities who are representatives of Krishna. When they will see me? When will they recognize? So we keep serving in the hope that yes, Krishna is going to see. Just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati always says, don't try and see Krishna. Act in such a way that Krishna sees you. It is by devotional service. It's by pure devotional service that we attract Krishna. By this performance, we are waiting. When will Krishna see me? Just like all the cowherd boys. They are waiting. When will Krishna look at him, look at them individually? So this is the mood of Krishna consciousness. Krishna is in the center. That's what we want to achieve. And therefore, we are undergoing this whole program. So then we see that coming back to the point now for this 1 year. So these mothers, when they see these boys, they are feeling so much of maternal affection that milk is flowing from their breasts. And they feed that to their children, which doesn't happen normally, which only happens when they see Krishna. But now it is happening for their own children. And they satisfy this desire of wanting to serve Krishna in a parental rasa for this whole time duration of an entire year. And nobody is understanding what is going on. Except Balramji, who understands this after 1 year, 5-6 days short of a year. Balramji sees an very amazing sight. When he goes to graze along with Krishna, he goes along with all the cowherd boys and with the calves. When he goes, he sees that suddenly, on top of Govardhan Hill, when the cows, the bigger cows, it is the gopas, the elderly cowherd men who take the cows for grazing. And they go separate places normally. They go to separate places for grazing. Now when these cows, they see their calves, their baby calves, that time, they happen to come across each other. When from top of Govardhan Hill, when these cows see their calves down below, suddenly there's so much of affection that they have for them, and these cows come running across the rough path. They forget themselves, they forget their caretaker. Cows by nature, they are docile animals, they can be domesticated. You see the cowherd man, a man who is there, just by one lathi, they follow. That's the difference between an animal who can be domesticated and who is wild. Wild animal, even if you, with a lathi, with a stick also, you cannot control them. Domestic animals can be. So normally the cows, just by a stick and by direction from the Gopal, by the one who is taking care, they follow. But suddenly they felt so much of affection that they ran to their calves. And they wanted to feed them milk. They were feeding them milk, and these cows were also licking the bodies of these calves. What Balramji found astonishing was that there were elder calves who were there. That means these cows had also given birth to younger calves. But that particular group of calves was what these cows were being so affectionate towards. Why? Because they were Krishna. All these calves were Krishna. So they were feeling so much of affection. So these cows, they ran to these calves. Now, the second part that Balramji saw, which was astonishing, was that the caretakers, the elderly cowherd men who were taking care of these cows, they, in order to save their cows, also ran behind the cows. And they also crossed the rough path. And when they were feeling angry, they were feeling ashamed that how did our cows run like this? They are in our control. Just like any senior feels on the mistake of their subordinate, they feel ashamed that how did my person do something like this? In the same way, these cowherd men, they were feeling a mixture of shamefulness and they were feeling anger. How they went like this. But as soon as they reached, they went behind the cows, and when they reached near this group of their children and the calves, when they saw their own children, these cowherd men, they forgot all their anger, and suddenly they had so much of parental affection. Suddenly these cowherd men are also feeling so much of vatsalya bhav, paternal affection towards their children. They embraced them, they smelled their heads. So in this way they are acting, which is also surprising. So this is what Balramji was astonished. So now Balramji, he's thinking, is this some Rakshasi Maya? Is this some other potency which I am not able to understand? What is this? He's thinking like this. But then he says, how can Rakshasi Maya work on me? So then this can only be my Lord, who is Krishna, his potency. This can only be Krishna's potency. So even Balramji, who is the supreme servitor of Godhead, is the first expansion. He also was not able to catch this till it grossly manifested to him. That was also after a year. Now how come Balramji was not there when Brahma kidnapped these cows and cowherd boys and these calves? How come Balram was? It was Balramji's birthday that day. So his mother had kept him at home. So therefore Balram was not kidnapped. And next year also, that was after 1 year, when Brahmaji comes back, that time also Balramji was not present, because again it was his birthday. So again he was at home at that time also. So Balram asks Krishna, what is going on? What is happening here? So then Krishna explains what is going on, that it is Brahmaji who has kidnapped the cows, the cowherd boys and the calves. So then when this episode gets over, now on the other side, Brahma, he's in anxiety. Brahma is anxious because he has tested his own boss. So he's in anxiety. So Brahmaji, momentarily, this is one moment which takes exactly 1 year. And when Brahma returns back, and he's astonished. He sees the same cowherd boys and cows playing with Krishna, enjoying the same sporting activities. So Brahma is confused that this is the original or that one. And then he's thinking, are there two sets? Or there one? Or is it that Krishna, I am putting them there, Krishna is taking them from there and keeping them here? Is it like that? And then when I go back again, Krishna is going to put them back there again where I have hidden them. Is it like this? So Brahma is bewildered. This is confusion. So this bewilderment of Brahma, this is Brahma Vimohana. And he's thinking like this, he's fully confused. At that time, he is able to see that all these forms of these cows, of these calves and these cowherd boys are none other than Vishnu Tattva. They are direct expansions of Shri Krishna. He is able to see all of them having that same Shyam Sundar complexion, that Pitambari Vastra. He sees all of them having helmets, 4 hands, Shank, Chakra, Gada, Padma. He sees all of them having Vaijanti Mala garland. He sees all of them having this Kaustubh Mani, Srivatsa mark. He sees that all of them, they are Vishnu forms. He sees also all the mystic potencies with them. So Brahma, he gets this special darshan of how Krishna has himself expanded himself into all these forms, which are Vishnu Murti forms. Now, so this is when he sees, Krishna removes the Yog Maya covering from Brahma. It is as if he is a dead man coming back to life. Brahma sees the universe, he sees Vrindavan, and he sees Krishna. He comes down from his swan carrier, and he falls down like a golden rod. He pays Dandavat to Krishna, with the tips of the helmet of his 4 heads touching Krishna's lotus feet. He bathes the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. And he's in ecstasy, because he has now understood. This is the difference between a devotee and a demon. The demon, when he's defeated, he'll not accept it. But the devotee, even there is a slight amount of pride, when he's purified from that pride, he feels so much of great ecstasy, because he's seeing how great my Lord is. So in this way, then Brahma, he starts offering his prayers. These prayers, the Bhagavatam Phalashruti at the end of this chapter is that these prayers are so wonderful that anybody who listens to these prayers, who chants or hears these prayers, they will get all their spiritual desires fulfilled. That is the Phalashruti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he actually says about these prayers of Brahma. He says that may these prayers of Brahma, which take away all the doubts and broadcast the conclusive definitions of devotional service. He says this is the conclusive definitions of devotional service. May this be the foundation of my spiritual consciousness. He says this. May this be the foundation of my consciousness. So in this way, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives such an importance to these prayers offered by Lord Brahma. And Brahma is praying that actually you have appeared as a cowherd boy only to please your devotees, to increase the ecstasy. Increase the ecstasy. And I have committed a big offense against you because I kidnapped them. But you are so merciful, and that is your transcendental quality, that you are very affectionate to me. But still I cannot understand your potency. This is Brahma is saying. He says, I am Brahma, I cannot understand your potency. What to speak of anyone else? So that is why one thing we understand, that what is Krishna's plan? That only Krishna knows. But no, who can understand? If Brahma cannot understand, then how can we understand? Brahma also says that with time, philosophers may be able to count all the atoms in this world. He says that they'll be able to count the particles that are radiating from the sun and other luminaries. They may be able to count that. They may be able to even count the particles of snow, but they cannot count your infinite glories. In fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that Lord Sankarshan, he actually knows how many atoms are there. Lord Sankarshana, he knows how many atoms are there, total number of atoms. He knows. But in spite of that, he has not yet stopped chanting Krishna's glory. So what is the question of putting any limit on how many special transcendental qualities that Krishna has? In this way, Brahma is praying. And then the very special verse, which Srila Prabhupada also quotes so many places, Tattenu kampa susumikshamano punjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvagva purbhir vidadan namaste jive tayo mukti pade sadaya bhag. Such an important verse, especially for us practicing devotees. We can always contemplate on this verse, wherein Brahma is saying that one who is earnestly waiting for your mercy, and he is patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds. And with his heart, words and body, he is waiting patiently. Such a person, he is eligible for liberation because it has become his rightful claim, Daya Bhag. Srila Sridhar Swami is commenting on this verse that just like a son, in order to receive the inheritance from his father, what does he have to do? He just has to remain in good standing with the father. That's it. He gets everything. He gets all the inheritance. Likewise, this is for devotees, that if we just continue this process of devotional life, tolerating whatever past misdeeds we have, accepting them as a token reaction from Krishna, then we also get this rightful claim to go to the kingdom of God, to go back to the spiritual world. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he explains this in many of his purports. He explains that how this functions, the difficulties that come in a devotee's life, what are they actually? So what happens is that because just like we surrender, we go to Krishna and say, my dear Lord, I am yours. I am surrendered. And then still, but we see that devotees suffer. This question many times comes up, that why do devotees suffer? Or why do practicing devotees, sadhakas, why do they have to undergo this kind of tribulation sometimes? So in this verse, we can understand, Srila Prabhupada, he comments various places on this. He says that actually a devotee, although he may have surrendered, in his mind there may be this mentality of enjoyment. So when he accepts this token reaction that Krishna has customized, so it's not exactly karma, it is, you can say, customized karma. It's a token reaction that the Lord gives just to purify the mentality, because of which we have done that particular action. So it holds true for both the suffering and the happiness that a devotee may get. Sometimes we see that devotees get a lot of opulence also. We may see, in practical life, we may see that somebody may get a post position, he may get facility. Whereas somebody, he may have to go through a hard time. So why is there such a difference? This is the reason, that this is Krishna, this is how he is giving mercy. Because the purpose is to rectify this tendency that we have within ourselves to become Krishna. We want to become Krishna. We want to compete with each other to become Krishna. And we want to compete with Krishna also. So this whole process of purification, we undergo, the Lord makes us undergo, and this comes as different situations in our life as happiness and distress. Even after surrendering, even in this process, this comes up, the ups and downs that we go through, the mood changes that we go through, the different kleshas that we go through, they are nothing but this special customized karma that Krishna is sending, mercy, so that we can completely let go of the attachment we have to this material world. So this is the whole thing. And therefore a sincere devotee, since he wants to go back in the association of the Lord, he is ready to accept this little hardship. It's just one lifetime of hardship that we have to go through. It's tough. I mean, being a devotee, being practicing devotee is sometimes, one may feel that it's difficult than the karmi is also. Because in karmi life, when person is in ignorance, they have a lot of stress busters. Like, they have intoxication, etc., etc. One may feel like this. That they have so many things to relieve their stress. But in devotional life, when we are going through tough phases, right, we have to still do the same thing of chanting our rounds, of hearing Bhagavatam, of associating with devotees, is the same thing. So it may seem difficult, but that's what is mentioned. It is difficult. Who said it isn't? But that is the hardship that we take for attaining the Lord's association. So this is mentioned in this purport. Brahma is, so there's some special lessons that we gain, and this verse, such an important verse, that all the devotees can make this as one of the most important verses that we can abide through in our life. What's going on in our life, we can always remember, relate to. Any difficult situation comes, we remember this is Krishna's special mercy. How it is acting, we cannot understand, but we must go through it. And therefore, in any situation, even how matter difficult it is, we should never let go of Bhakta Sangha, never let go of devotees association, no matter how difficult the situation is. So then Brahma is saying that I am a small spark in front of the fire, that is you. You see my impudence. But because I am your son, just like a mother does not take seriously the kicks of her child in the womb, like that, please don't take my offense seriously. Brahma is requesting. He says, I am foolish because I have been born from the mode of passion. So sometimes this is how I act. He says that I create in this material universe, but still I am bound in this universe which is made up of these elements. But from you, just like through a screened window, the particles of dust come out, in the same way from the pores of your body, individual universes are coming out. So what is my level in front of you? So Prabhupada mentions this in Krishna book, he mentions that all material scientists and all those who feel proud of their achievements, they should take lessons from Lord Brahma, that one should remain very humble and not falsely puffed up by the accumulation of power. Whenever we get power, we should always remember who is the most powerful. Otherwise, for Krishna, it's not a very big thing to put anyone in place. He can put Brahma in place, so what to speak of putting us in place? They say pride comes before the fall. Prabhupada says one place, only Muri and Puri can be puffed up, no one else. He says only Muri and Puri, they can be puffed up, no one else. Brahma is then understanding, he says, you are only the original Narayana. Because Brahma knows that actually he originates from Narayana. So he knows that Narayana is the supreme, but now he's seeing that this is the source of Narayana. He's saying first you are present in this form, then he's saying that then you manifested yourself into these calves and these cowherd boys. Then you manifested yourself into these Vishnu forms, and then now again you are standing in that same form in front of me. This is all your Achintya Shakti, your inconceivable energy. What Shakti? This is inconceivable. That means materially we cannot understand the Lord's Shakti. It is inconceivable, Achintya Shakti. Then Brahma, he humbles down so much, he says that it would be my greatest fortune to take birth in Braj, as dust particles in Braj, anywhere in this Gokul forest, anywhere, so that I can be bathed by the dust falling from the residents of Vrindavan. He's praying like this. So Brahma is, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that Brahma is willing to even become a stone on the Vrindavan Parikrama Marg. He says like this. In fact, it is, Prabhupada also summarizes in Krishna book, The Mind of Brahma, that Brahma doesn't even, he's okay that he can even take birth outside the Vrindavan area, but just immediate area, outside Parikrama Marg. Prabhupada mentions this in Krishna book, The Mind of Brahma. He's fine. He's saying, I can become a stone outside the Vrindavan Parikrama Marg, so that those devotees who are walking in and out, I get the dust on my head. In this way, Brahma is praying. So when Brahma says this, the Lord is giving him silent treatment. Krishna is not saying anything. And what is the reason? Because Krishna is thinking he's a small coward boy. What does he have to do with these Brahma's prayers? What is this four-headed Brahma coming here and offering prayers for? Silent treatment. Krishna doesn't tell anything. And then Brahma, he departs. And Krishna, he returns back to the river bank. And there he brings, he comes back to the river bank, and these cowherd boys and calves were still there at the river bank. Cowherd boys are there waiting for Krishna to come back. You see, how did Krishna leave them? He had yogurt and rice preparation with some fruit in his hand. Cowherd boys told him, you go and search for the cows. The cows are running. Krishna said, okay, wait, I'm going. And now Krishna is coming back. And when he comes back, these cowherd boys, they are sitting there. They are asking Krishna, we didn't even eat anything yet. You came back so suddenly? Although this whole episode has happened and 1 year has passed by, according to the cowherd boys, Krishna just went momentarily, came back immediately. We didn't even put anything in our mouth. So this has happened. So this is where this comes out. Then Krishna tells when now Krishna comes back, so the cowherd boys, they are congratulating Krishna. So quickly you brought the calves back. Very nice. So Krishna tells, okay, you all sit and nicely take prasadam. And Prabhupada mentions that these cowherd boys, they were so happy to be in Krishna's association back again. So now when these cowherd boys come back again to Braj in the evening when they are returning back, then what are they doing? They are telling everyone, you see, Krishna killed Aghasur today. Krishna killed Aghasur today. That is the verse that we were discussing today. Today Krishna saved us by killing a great serpent. So this is why this 1 year program happened. For Krishna, he was more interested, while Brahma was praying to him, Krishna, he was more interested in going and playing hide and seek. He was more interested in building bridge game and jumping like monkeys. Shukdev Goswami says, Krishna is more interested in this, playing with his friends, than hearing these prayers of Brahma. This is how Krishna is, this mood is like this. This is the Braj mood, which is a very special mood, and Srila Prabhupada has given access to this mood through his purports, through this process of devotional life, through the association that he has created. The speciality of the moods of the Brajbasis is because for them Krishna is the life and soul, and that is the Braj Bhav. Although Lord Brahma prayed that you make me some insignificant stone in Vrindavan, but still Krishna, he doesn't say, okay, I'll do it. He doesn't say that. Which meant that he wanted Brahma to continue with his service at his position. And to that, in the purport it is mentioned that we should also, instead of artificially wanting to just get Brajvas or just wanting to go there, we should remain fixed up in our service, in our position. Just like Krishna wanted Brahma to go and get purified in his position, in his service, to continue with his service. Having faith that Krishna has put us in the right spot for our purification so that we can come closer and closer to Him. Having this faith, we should go on with our spiritual life. Having full faith, Krishna will reward us with His personal association, with the association of His pure devotees, if we desire so sincerely. So this is very special Brahma Vimohan Leela, 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We end here. Any questions or comments? Okay, so we end here. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.